The final Dale Earnhardt Sr. mystery. Dale Earnhardt was solved and isn't good. Ralph Dale Earnhardt was born on April 29, 1951, in Catapapolis North, a tiny town, Carolina, a state with a strong racing heritage. His parents' textile mills and culture. Ralph Earnhardt and Martha Coleman played important parts in forming his Ralph Lee. Earnhardt's father in his early years was not an ordinary man. Rather, he was a highly renowned North American short-track driver. Carolina is renowned for his ability and tenacity behind the wheel. During Ralph's racing career had won him a standing as one of the top promoters during his tenure in the highly competitive local short-track racing scene. This surroundings produced a spontaneous exposure for Dale and his siblings to go to motorsports growing up. Danny, Randy, Kathy, and Kay, encircled by the sounds and sights of racing motors and the friendship of the racing world. In spite of this powerful racing ancestry, Dale's father at first refused to let his son follow in his steps, possibly in need of a safer or more traditional manner of living from the track's hazards. However, from an early age, Dale and his dream, Earnhardt was determined to pursue a career as a race car driver. His zeal and resolve were obvious from the beginning, and he was prepared to make substantial sacrifices in order to pursue actually. Dale's dedication to this idea was so powerful that he ultimately made the brave choice to leave school. This choice was an obvious indication of his commitment. He was prepared to exchange the conventional route for high speed, the dangerous realm of professional racing. It was a choice that signified the start of what will eventually become one of NASCAR's most illustrious careers. Dale Earnhardt formally started his history career in professional racing in 1975, making his first appearance in the premier level of the Winston Cup Series at the time. Stock car racing was his first race. Was the first World 600, which took place at North Carolina's Charlotte Motor Speedway, Carolina, known as the World 600. Season's longest race, testing not just the driving prowess but also their stamina and mental fortitude. It was at this well-known song where Dale initially demonstrated his capacity as a serious in the NASCAR circuit. The rival importance of beginning his professional career on a course this challenging can't be exaggerated. It established the tone for the vigor and resilience that would describe his style on the song. Over the course of his career in 1978, 3 years later, Earnhardt was given his major break came when he was asked to swap out another World 600 driver. The Charlotte Cup race was in this. Dale Earnhardt's high-pressure situation really started to attract the interest of both racing enthusiasts and business insiders. In addition to his excellent performance, he placed 8th in the Firecracker as well. 400, a show that demonstrated his innate ability and racing knowledge. The reason the breakthrough race was so important was it was his formal introduction to the national racecourse, demonstrating sponsors and team owners that he had the ability and will to compete at the greatest level. The year after, 1979, opened a new phase in Earnhardt's professional life, as he began racing alongside Rod Osterland. For this was a crucial season for his debut year in which Dale started to build. He considers himself a strong driver. Won for the first time at the Bristol 1-Tune that is well known for its brief but intense racing from bumper to bumper, which required swift responses and ferocity competitiveness. In addition to winning this race, he additionally placed 7th overall. Season rankings, an impressive accomplishment for a novice in such a cutthroat industry. A strong rookie campaign established the starting point for what might be a continually powerful and prosperous career. Earnhardt's sophomore campaign saw a substantial shift with Doug, the new crew chief, arrives Richard. This collaboration turned out to be essential to Dale's ongoing progress and achievement on the track together. They took home multiple race victories. Important NASCAR locations such as Atlanta, Charlotte, Nashville, and Bristol. These triumphs contributed to Earnhardt's increasing repute as a competent and adaptable a driver who was proficient in a variety of tracks and conditions. His violent driving, fashion, and tactical choices in racing started to enthrall and threaten devotees. Rivals similar. Dale Earnhardt had by 1981 joined a team called Richard Childress Racing that would come to be associated with his later years' name. That season he placed 6th overall, keeping up demonstrate his constancy as a fierce rival. But the following 2 years demonstrated difficult. These seasons symbolize some of the most difficult periods in Earnhardt's profession, characterized by difficulties in locating the winning recipe in spite of these challenges. Dale's fortitude and his character was defined by his resolve to give up. He made his breakthrough when he eventually won one of the most Daytona 500s, prestigious NASCAR events for 2 years following his hardships. This triumph was a significant turning event that indicates his arrival as a premier driver with the ability to winning the major competitions in sports. Dale Earnhardt had an incredible 1,984. Won 6 races this season in a variety of cities and monitors his performance in Martinsville. He placed 7th and 4th in 2 different races. Shown his expertise on one of the most difficult short tracks in NASCAR this season cemented his reputation as one of the top drivers in sports. The year 1985 was also distinguished by several victories highlighting his reliability and the competitive advantage. The peak of Dale's achievements during this era began in 1986, when he was awarded his second Winston Cup title. That he dominated the season that year by obtaining 5 race wins and continuously completing in the top 5 or 10 positions during the races. This performance level established a new NASCAR record for the contemporary period that emphasized Earnhardt's capacity to not just prevail, but also continue to do so, often during an arduous and protracted season. In 1988, Earnhardt struck a new agreement with GM to sponsor a collaboration with Goodwrench that would become a legendary figure in NASCAR history. This season, he was awarded the Give the Black-Clad Man a nickname. His black number 3 automobile served as inspiration, and his harsh, menacing demeanor on the track. He won 3 races that year. Additionally, he increased his win total in 1989 to 5. Still claiming his supremacy, the 1990 season was especially noteworthy. For Earnhardt, he declared triumphs in the Busch Clash and 2 significant Gatorade Twin 125s. Preparatory activities that demonstrated his speed and preparedness. He won that year 9 regular season races and won another Winston Cup, enhancing his expanding legacy. In 1991, Dale Earnhardt won the Winston Cup once more, winning 195 points in the championship with just 4 victories. Demonstrate that reliability was equally significant as outright triumphs, but the 1992 campaign was increasingly difficult. He only succeeded in winning once in Charlotte at the Coca-Cola 600 and placed 12th in terms of career points. Low unfazed, he made a significant adjustment by appointing Andy Petrie to lead his crew. This choice revitalized his accomplishment that brings him nearer than ever to win the Daytona 500 once more. Earnhardt scored 6 goals under Petrie's direction, wins both that year and another. Earnhardt won the 1994 Winston Cup Championship, won a second Winston Cup, concluding the season in a dominant 400-point lead. In this championship would be the final chapter of his remarkable career, signaling the conclusion of a period of time. Notwithstanding, Earnhardt is no longer winning titles, remained a formidable presence on the track, and he took home 5 races in 1995, including the legendary Daytona 500, and completed the 7th overall for the season, proving that despite competition intensified, he continued to be a strong candidate. During the 1996 season, Earnhardt's domination during the event's speed weeks before the Daytona 500, although he ultimately came in second place in the Daytona 500 itself, he recovered by winning races in Atlanta and Rockingham, demonstrating his tenacity that year, although also caused a significant setback when he experienced a severe mishap during the Tallahassee Die Hard 500 collision. Was harsh, but Earnhardt's resolve never paused. Amazingly, he went back to the track in Indianapolis the next week. Despite having a large lead throughout the race, his eventually physical injuries caught up with him, and he couldn't get the win. Earnhardt had a difficult year in 1997. Not winning any races is a major decline for the renowned driver, but he bounced, staying true to his fighting spirit. Again in 1998 by ultimately taking home another triumph at the Daytona 500. Was fans and the racecourse celebrated community as a whole by the year 2000, but no longer during his optimal prime career. Earnhardt continued to be competitive, concluded with 2 victories in Atlanta, second in the Richmond races and Martinsville, demonstrating that even following after decades of playing the sport, He would still compete with Dale Earnhardt's best. His personal life was just as busy as his illustrious racing career that started with his hasty marriage at an early age, only 17 years old, at a period when many teens are still learning how to own roots. Earnhardt made the crucial choice to wed Daytona, his first marriage, in 1968. This young union was a reflection of both his dedication to one's family and possibly the pressures of rapidly maturing in the Dale and Daytona together in the racing world welcomed a son as their first child, named Earnhardt, who would thereafter follow in his father's footsteps and become engaged in his own racing. But the marriage lasted only 4 years. Of attempting to establish a life together, in the difficulties of Earnhardt's developing the couple's racing career ended in divorce in 1972. This time frame was probably distinguished by the challenges of juggling a demanding work-life balance. With personal, a lot of athletes have responsibilities face, particularly in the stressful early years of their professional lives. Only 1 year following his 1971 divorce, Dale Earnhardt began a new phase of his life by getting married to Brenda G. His second wife. Union gave his life new steadiness, private life, and would lead to the birth of 2 kids who grew up to be crucial component of his legacy. Brenda and Dale had a son and a daughter, Kelly King, Dale Earnhardt Jr., who would become growing to be one of NASCAR's most cherished and successful drivers. Are frequently regarded as continuing his father's unwavering energy and enthusiasm for racing over time. Were important with Brenda, not just due to the family they established, although additionally, Dale's career was soaring throughout this period with significant triumphs and increasing notoriety. Despite, as occasionally occurs with public individuals under tremendous pressure, the marriage ended in divorce. The events that led to the breakup was kept confidential, but it highlighted the challenges Earnhardt faced. Balancing his private life and the requirements of a prominent career, Dale Earnhardt, after his second divorce, discovered love once more and was married in 1982. His third and final wife was Teresa Houston. Teresa would continue to be a reliable companion for the rest of Dale's lifetime, helping him get through the highs and his racing career's valleys together. Taylor Nicole is the name of their daughter, adding another to Dale's family child who would be raised in the presence of their father's renown and legacy. Teresa's responsibilities went beyond being a husband. She was an essential source of steadiness and emotional fortitude for Earnhardt, particularly during the more difficult periods in his professional life. The marriage lasted until Dale's premature death, passing in 2001, and Teresa had a vital role in protecting and respecting his recollection in the years after. The family they established together was incredibly, in addition to being related by blood, their mutual dedication to Dale's legacy, both off the racecourse and on it. For decades after Dale Earnhardt's untimely death, Sr. left during the Daytona 500 in 2001, the racing community and fans' analysis obscured by doubt and conjecture. The enigma regarding the circumstances behind his deadly collision have been disputed for a long time, from theories regarding vehicle issues to inquiries regarding safety procedures on the track, but following new findings after years of research and thorough forensic examinations have finally provided some clarification on what actually took place that fateful day. Regretfully, the results are not reassuring. Rather than strange calamity or an inevitable catastrophe, the truth indicates a number of avoidable elements that combine to the passing of a NASCAR star. Legendary people. The inquiry found serious problems with the safety gear and the layout of the automobile, particularly with reference to the head and constraints around the neck that were either misused or not accessible. At the Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s past included refusing to wear safety equipment because many his time's drivers did believe it hindered their comfort or performance. Unfortunately, there may be a price for this resilience. His life. In addition to the layout of at that time, the race cars weren't sufficiently absorb or divert the force of violence produced at rapid speeds affects the positioning of the walls, and the absence of barriers that absorb energy also played a destructive role, indicating that the collision's contact gave much more force to Earnhardt's physique than it ought to have. Additionally, the mystery explored the dynamics of the actual crash video, telemetry information, and witness according to testimony. Earnhardt's vehicle was captured at a brief moment of events that are being pushed and crushed by other automobiles, resulting in a loss of regulate the violent pack racing style typical of restrictor plate tracks, such as Daytona was a part of these tumultuous. The essence of NASCAR racing. At certain points it promotes close forms, and driving in close proximity can improve the danger of several vehicle collisions, while Earnhardt was an expert at handling such circumstances that even his abilities couldn't stop the inevitable accident scene that transpired. This fresh understanding has additionally sparked continuing conversations regarding NASCAR's obligation to the driver safety following Earnhardt's passing. The game has made a number of safety improvements, including the requirement to use the HS safer head and neck support for the device barriers and better vehicle chassis designs and improved guidelines for medical response. These developments highlight the severe truth that Earnhardt's passing was a catalyst for transformation, but also a melancholy reminder of what was lost as a result of previous complacency. The Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s resolution mystery, far from providing comfort, reveals a sad reality. It wasn't just bad fate or good fortune that claimed his life, but a combination of insufficient safety evaluates, racing methods, and technological advancements. Restrictions that might have been dealt with before. This sobering understanding only intensifies the gratitude for the safety measures taken, because it acts as a constant reminder to provide drivers health and safety top priority on the track above all else. Information about Dale Earnhardt. Dale Earnhardt had a reputation for superstitions, such as the requirement to wear a lucky pair of race-related pants. Earnhardt was passionate about animals preservation and was recognized for having a fondness for animals, particularly saving them. Despite his rough demeanor, stray dogs, Earnhardt has a fun side at the racecourse, and was well known for enjoying pulling practical jokes. Earnhardt loved practical jokes and was a huge collector of vintage vehicles and enjoyed repair and display them at auto events. When not competing, Earnhardt possessed a special ability to cook, and was particularly renowned for creating mouth-watering BBQ recipes, which he liked to share with friends and family.